It's a great day for our Aardvarks in the Elm Hill City Zoo because today we'll be moving them to their new and improved enclosure. From now on, the Aardvarks will live in our new building, the Goodwin Center. I hope you guys will enjoy today's episode. Hello guys, this is Cesar Creates and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back in the Elm Hill City Zoo and we'll be adding the Aardvarks to the newest building in the zoo, the Goodwin Center. I know that some of you might be like, but you already have the Aardvarks in the Elm Hill City Zoo, and you'll be totally right. The Aardvark was actually one of the first animals that I ever added to the zoo back when we started it, so it was a long time ago, and they were housed in a building called the Small Mammal House. And as I already told you, I decided that I don't really like this house anymore, that it doesn't fit to our zoo and that I want to get rid of it and build something more suiting in its place. And that means that we need to move all the animals that were living in that house to different parts of the zoo. That building didn't make sense at all. There were animals from different parts of the world. Aardvark is not really a small mammal, it is actually quite a big animal. And also when I think of a building called a small mammal house, I would think of a building that will be keeping, I don't know, rodents, like mice, like shrews and stuff like this, not animals like giant otter and the aardvark that we had in there. So I decided to move all the animals from there and to build a new enclosures for them gradually in the zoo. And as I came up with the idea to build a Goodwin house, it was just a perfect opportunity to include the Aardvark in here as well. Some of you actually guessed it in the last video in the comments because I teased that there will be like a mystery animal in here. So some of you suggested that it might be the Aardvark and you guys were absolutely right. I mean, the real life zoos do it all the time. They build new enclosures for the animals that are better for them, that are improved, and they are moving the animals to the new enclosures, and then they are repurposing the old enclosure into something else or a different enclosure for a different animal. So generally there's always something like that going on in the zoos, and this is how I am imagining it. So basically today I will use all of my skills that I was able to learn during my time of having this channel to build a better aardvark habitat that they had before. The previous one was very plain, very boring with not many details. I also am, as I told you, not a huge fan of the building. I like the Goodwin Center a lot more, and of course I like the finished habitat when it will be finished a lot more than the previous one. So I am very excited for our Aardvarks to have a better home in the Elm Hill City Zoo. We started the Goodwin Center in the last episode where we added the African Spurred Tortoise, so in case you guys haven't seen that, I'll put the link down in the description. And on the screen, in there we actually started to build the facade of the building and did a bit of an interior, and today we'll be sort of like continuing it and adding a new enclosure, both the outdoor and the indoor for the Aardvarks. Besides those two, there will be two more animals living in here. As I told you guys in the previous video, we'll have the African leopard and the dig-dig. So this is basically something that you can expect from the next episodes of the Elm Hill City Zoo. By the way, if you've watched the previous episode with the tortoise and you thought that it is a bit weird looking or something, sorry for that, because I don't know what happened to it. It is very like laggy and choppy, and the transitions are a bit weird. There must have been something done to the editing of this video, and I realized that, you know, something is wrong after I uploaded and published the video, so it was too late to delete it. I'll make sure that it won't happen in the future. I'm sure that this video right now that you are watching is much more smoother and easier to watch, so again, sorry for that. Just as I said in the last episode, but maybe some of you didn't watch it, the Goodwin Center is inspired by Prague Zoo and its Darwin Crater building. In there they have a lot of Australian and Oceanian animals, but I decided to use the inspiration because I really love this building and to use it for the African species in our African section of the zoo. So today's habitat for the aardvark is a bit inspired by their habitat for the wombats. Kind of similar animals, right? They are both quite chunky and they both like to dig big burrows and sleep in them. So I thought that it kind of makes sense to use this habitat as the inspiration. I actually wanted to build for the dig first, but I quickly realized that this shape of this enclosure for the aardvark and the intersection sort of will determine the shape of the next habitat for the digs. So I just had to build for the aardvark first. And honestly, I am so happy that I did because I miss the aardvark so much. Even though this is my third habitat that I am building on this channel for the aardvarks. Of course, we had the first habitat in the Elm Hill City Zoo, then we've built for them in the Desert Adventure Park, and now it is a second habitat for them in the Elm Hill City Zoo. But I love them. I think that they are adorable. They are sort of like kind of like piggies. They look very weird, something like from the Star Wars or anything. But yeah, I really like those animals. I think that they are super interesting. I have actually seen them in a lot of zoos, and even though they are mainly nocturnal, and I also saw them in some nocturnal houses in the zoo, I also was lucky to see them just being active during the day in some zoos, like for example in Prague or in Wrocław. So who knows, maybe our guests in the Elm Hill City Zoo would also be lucky. At first I wanted to build like a separate section in this building for them just because they are nocturnal, especially for the indoor area, but I decided not to do it. I've built for them like a cave that they can sleep in that is very dark, and the guests can still see them sleeping in there, just because this is something that I saw in Prague and I decided to get a bit inspired by this, and you will see that later when we'll be working on the indoor area for this habitat. So the video started with building a barrier for this habitat. I wanted a glass barrier for them to be visible, of course, but also the glass would prevent them from climbing. I also worked on the path on some planters around the habitat. I added the entrance to the indoor section and the outdoor section of the habitat, so we built a door and a gate. And I also worked on the elevated path that was very inspired by Prague Zoo. I love this detail about it. It is like a trail, like an elevated trail that is going through the enclosures, and you have the wombats on the one side and the Tasmanian devils on the right hand side, and for that it will be aardvarks and the digs. The only thing that I need to do to make it work, unless I want only the implied path, because it is very narrow, and to do that I will need to have a free build mod with the invisible elevated paths that are narrow, so probably I will install it and add the path in here, but for right now we can just sort of imagine that the guests would be able to walk in there. It was a bit tough to build because of all the different angles, and you know, we don't have the ability to cut the planks in the different angles and stuff, so I had to use what I had. It is a bit wonky, but I still really like how it has turned out, and it will look even better when we'll have the dig enclosure on the other side. Unfortunately, the outdoor enclosure suffers a bit from the shadows in Planet Zoo, so it is hidden behind the wall that is covering all of the sun, so it is a bit dark, but there's nothing we can do about it. It is all about the placement of this building. To cover the wall of the building, I of course used the blueprint of my rock walls that you can find on the workshop, but I also did some terraforming, and I did a higher terrain in the back of the habitat, so it slopes down a bit, and it made the habitat look a bit more interesting. It is not so flat, and thanks to that I think it is a bit more enriching for the animals. Of course, with the aardvarks we cannot go too crazy with all the details because they love to dig. And I can imagine that with those claws they can easily destroy all the foliage in their habitats, but I still wanted to give them some grasses, so I added just that, and I found the amazing blueprint on the workshop that I actually wanted to use for the digs, but I decided to add a bit in here as well, just to make those two habitats cohesive in the future. This is the ornamental grasses by Robustus. Amazing blueprints using different plants available in Planet Zoo. He basically created new species of grasses, which is amazing. So I will of course put the link to this blueprint in the description of that video, so you guys can use it yourself, as well as all the other blueprints that I've used in this video. I also had to figure out how the Aardvarks will be entering the inner part of their habitat, so this building. I measured how much traversable area they actually need to, go through certain things. So those are those like metal poles that you probably saw on your screen, and then I decided to build like a cave from the rocks, so it sort of looks like they are entering the cave, but in fact they are entering the building. Of course we are using here a lot of rocks, and when it comes to the rocks, I don't know if you guys saw, but I uploaded a Rockwork tutorial finally to my channel. I had so many requests for that, so if you like to learn something more about the rocks in Planet Zoo, I will also put the link down in the description and on the screen to that video. I love to upload tutorials because I know how much you guys like them, but I'm not gonna lie, those are some of the most challenging videos to make and to record. That's why I am not uploading so many of them, or too many of them, because this simply takes a lot of time, and sometimes I prefer to take this time and to build something new in one of my zoos than, to use twice as this time to record one tutorial. But there should be one more coming soon, something very also requested by, I think that's something that will take me less time to record, so keep an eye for that. Also, I know that you guys had to wait a bit for this new episode of the Elm Hill City Zoo. Of course, the Rockwork tutorial took so long time. I also took a break over Christmas and the New Year's Eve time. Then I was very sick from partying a bit too much on the New Year's Eve probably, and also going straight after this to the zoo, to the Wood Zoo in like a snow blizzard. So I think that after this my body said, okay, that was a bit too much, and now you'll have to rest in bed for several days. But I am glad that I am finally back. When it comes to that zoo, I was actually in Wood Zoo. It was my first zoo visit of this year. The reel or the short for that is out on my channel. In case you guys haven't seen that, it is a very beautiful zoo in my country, so I am quite proud of it. And I will be actually visiting another zoo, not in my country, somewhere else in Europe, in like 2 weeks, and I am very excited for that. And keep an eye on my social media everywhere, because I'll be also recording a short trip from it, so I really cannot wait. And I actually might be visiting Wrocław Zoo once more, because imagine that I've been on this huge New Year's party where there was like 200 people in there, and I actually by accident met a guy who is a zookeeper in Wrocław Zoo. So we've talked a lot. He actually knew my channel, he knows of Planet Zoo of course, and he invited me to Wrocław Zoo and said that he'll show me all the backstage areas and stuff. So I am very excited for this, because this will be such a huge inspiration. I don't know if I'll be able to take photos from this, maybe he wouldn't allow me, but still I will take photos in my brain and try to remember everything. Not sure when I will be able to go, but I definitely need to use that opportunity. And there is also one more thing, even more exciting, and I thought that maybe I'll wait with this, but why wait? Like, it is not a huge secret or anything. And to be honest, it is also a bit connected to the Aardvarks. So, as you guys probably know, my favorite animal ever is the giraffe. and if you don't know, just look at my logo. I don't know why, but I just love them. There's something about those animals that's, I don't know, I fall in love every time that I see them. And you know how some countries have their national animals, right? And the giraffe happens to be the national animal of the country called Tanzania. And some of you probably guessed it where it is going, right? I basically booked a trip to Tanzania for a safari there, and I just cannot hide my excitement anymore. I'm going there in October, so there's still plenty of time to get prepared and everything, but oh my god, I am so excited. This was like a proper safari, so I will be going with a group of people. We'll have our own jeep. We will be sleeping in tents, and we'll be spending 6 days on the savannah just watching the animals. When I was actually organizing this trip with the company that organizes safaris in Africa, they told me, what do you want? What do you expect from this trip? And I was like, I want to see every animal possible. So they will make sure to give us a person who is renowned in this animal tracking in there, so that we'll be able to see the most number of different species there. And I am so excited to finally see those animals in their natural habitats. Not only giraffes, but there's so many species. I didn't know that Tanzania is so rich in animals and different species. A lot of them are actually available in Planet Zoo, just as the ones that we are adding to this building. So I will probably see the dik-diks, I will see the African leopards. I don't know if I will see the aardvarks. They live in Tanzania, but they are nocturnal animals, so the chances are probably low, but I will be keeping my eyes open for them. I wanted to do it for such a long time, to go to Africa to see those animals, and I thought to myself, if not now, when? You won't be younger. So yeah, I'm finally doing it. I'm not gonna lie, also the person who inspired me for that was just Goron. If you guys don't know, he loves red pandas, and he was actually recently in Nepal to see those animals in their natural habitat, and yeah, now it is my turn. I will see the giraffes in their natural habitat. And actually Tanzania is famous for the big population of the Maasai giraffe, which is the biggest one and to me the most beautiful species of giraffe. So oh my god, I just can't wait for that. But yeah, it is still several months for me to wait for that. I will of course record a lot there. I already know that I need to buy a better camera for this trip, not to record only on my phone, so you can expect a lot of things on my social media from my trip. I'll probably do a whole video about it, like shorts, reels, and everything in between. But okay, let's go back to our habitat today and to our aardvarks. So as you guys can see, I am now working on the indoor habitat for the aardvarks. So at first I created the viewing windows, I added some walls and then the rock walls, and I also created the cave for them to sleep in, that the guests will be able to have a little sneak peek into. There will probably be one-way glass in here so they can feel like safe and secure without noticing that people are actually watching them. I wanted to keep this indoor area similar to the one that we created for the African Spurred Tortoise last time. So we'll have the same rock walls, we have the similar plants that we use there on top of them, and things like the decals and rocks are all in the same colors. They also have a feeder inside and the water bowl, and I also added the implied doors for the keepers, and the actual habitat door, if you are wondering, is hidden in those doors. So it sort of looks like the keepers are entering this habitat through the doors. Of course, with those kinds of habitats, the keepers are not able to reach the whole habitat. They cannot go outside. I often get questions on that in my comment section, how I am able to do it without the animals getting upset, without the enclosure getting dirty. You can actually turn off the defecation of the animals in the settings, in the sandbox settings, so that the keepers don't have to actually clean your habitats, and as long as all the feeders are accessible to them, they will feed them, or they will just put the food on the floor of the habitat, and the animals will still eat it. So if you are playing with the welfare turned off and the defecation also turned off, you should be good without the keepers being able to reach the whole habitat. Okay guys, and this is all when it comes to the speed build part of the video. I will meet you in the second in the cinematic shots to talk more about the habitat. I think that our aardvarks really enjoy their new enclosure. It definitely looks much prettier than the last one, and this just proves how much your skills can improve in this game over the time. I'm sure that this habitat will look even better when we'll finish the enclosure for the dig-digs, because right now the background is a bit empty. Even though the aardvark is the base game animal, I still think it looks really good and I love its scratching animation. Overall, I am very happy with how the Goodwin Center is developing with each and every episode, and I am sure that it will look even better after the next one, so stay tuned for that. I also really like the indoor enclosure for the aardvarks, especially the little cave that the guests can have a look into. I am sure that our aardvarks will enjoy it very much and will be sleeping there either during the day or during the night, however they like. As I told you guys, I saw them being active during the day in zoos, so I am hoping that they will do that the same in our zoo as well. I mean, it doesn't work in Planet Zoo like that anyway. The animals are active whenever they like. Nocturnal animals, unfortunately, they don't pay attention to the night or a day or anything, but sometimes we just need to use our imagination in this game. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the new episode, and I hope that you like the new improved habitat for our aardvarks. I know how much you like when I am rebuilding and improving some parts of the Elm Hill City Zoo, so I really hope that you will enjoy this one as well. If you did enjoy this video and you are not subscribed to my channel yet, please consider doing so by clicking a subscribe button down below. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, and of course leave me a nice comment and tell me what you think about the new aardvark habitat. And if you like to support the channel a little bit extra and become a sponsor of one of the habitats in the Elm Hill City Zoo, you can do it with the join button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!